welcome to episode 2 of Thursdays True and Trivial Talk with Matt and
McGinty,
the other guy.
The other guy.
I'm just kidding, dude.
I don't even.
I'm just kidding. Hey, we're so glad you were with. No, you're a good guy. All right, we're glad you're with us. Glad you're hanging with us here on Thursdays. Let me tell you what we have in store for you today. Daniel, it's a good show.
It's a good show. You sure about
that?
that?
Yeah, I'm sure. I
want a little more confidence from you.
All right.
What we
got?
No,
I got this. So, first of all, we are going to do a Would You Rather quarantine edition. So we're going to play some Would You Rather. Yeah.
Pretty serious.
Yeah, it's going to be good. We're going to do some Would You Rather. Then we'll look at some stuff Christians like. Are you familiar with stuff Christians like?
Yeah, John Acuff. He's the best, man.
Yes. So we're going to have some fun with that. But we're also going to look at 5 ways that churches will have changed 1 year from now. So article that we're going to be talking through this morning, this afternoon, whenever you're listening. I mean, just kind of depends. But
hey, you're going to be listening to this on your drive home while you're doing dishes at night, whatever mundane thing,
or watching. Like that's even more intimidating.
Hey, we're actually taking the time to videotape this.
Yeah.
So watching it would be cool too.
Well, cool, man. Hey, so how's your week been?
How's my week been, man? It's been a little bit on the busy side.
Yeah.
As you know, I'm preaching this Sunday, so I'm stoked about that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be talking about the gospel. I know a little preview there for you. I know church is talking about the gospel. That seems like kind of a crazy thing, but we're going to take a deep dive, and I'm actually really, really, really stoked.
Good,
really
man.
Stoked about it. So
you want to talk through any of your illustrations beforehand?
No, I am not going to give anything away. You got to show up on Sunday to hear it and watch it on our live stream if you want to actually watch it. So,
all right.
But I will say this, like this week has been really cool to watch my 4-year-old learning how to read. Like,
yeah,
we kind of surprised us. Like he's 4 and he's starting to read already. In fact, we asked him like, "How do you spell cat?" And he said C-A-T. Like, what? Okay, like you're 4. Well done.
That's awesome, man.
The homeschooling thing is working. Kudos to my wife, who's an amazing teacher. So,
yeah, I mean, I think we're all homeschooling right now.
I know we're all in the homeschool boat.
Yeah, well, and we're going to talk about that here in just a second with the Would You Rather. But
for real,
man, this what do you think about this weather? Nice.
I'm digging it. My parents live up in Denver, and they got snow. I just said, our snow's kind of wet here.
I'm stoked about getting to wear a long sleeve shirt today.
Yeah,
it's cool outside. Of course, by the time people hear this, it may be like back to hot. But for today, it feels good.
Nice.
Yeah,
the air conditioning is actually broken up here, and it feels good still.
Yeah,
so we'll take it.
Well, cool, man. Well, hey, let's jump into this. Let's talk through some Would You Rather. So, Would You Rather? It's basically you're given 2 choices that you got to figure out, okay, would I rather do this or would I rather do that? And quarantine edition, I know we're no longer quarantined. Who knows? Could come again, but some people are still around the country. They're still kind of in their house and dealing with this. So I think now that we're a little bit further, we can look back and we can maybe laugh at some of these things.
Hopefully laugh at these things. Let's go with that.
All right.
Well, I'm going to ask the first Would You Rather question. Of course, as you listen to this, think about what you would be doing. All right. So here's the first question. All right. Would you rather be stuck in one room with your family for a week or stuck in a room by yourself without your phone for a week?
Oh,
I feel like there's a positive and a negative in there. How about you, man? How would you answer that?
Oh, okay. You're just going to throw it back to me. So I got to say, I would rather be stuck in one room with my family for the week. Even though that's, that can be
safe answer, man. Wait.
No, that can be it can be trying at times. I'll admit that, but I can't imagine being stuck in my room, not being able to come out for a week.
I kind of know what that's like because our family went through some weird sickness, which wasn't actually COVID, by the way. We all got the test. And I quarantined with my other sick child in a room for like 2 to 3 days.
But you had a phone.
But I had a phone.
Yeah.
So, but even with the phone, it was kind of rough. And I had my daughter in there, but she was just wiped out. But yeah, I definitely think, our phones are a place of work for us.
Yeah.
I manage all our social media and emails and stuff. So it'd kind of be nice to take a break from it and just kind of decompress. Not getting to listen to your favorite podcast might be kind of a challenge.
With the assumption that this is their favorite.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Okay.
Huge assumption.
Oh, yeah.
But, spend some QT with the family, learn to do some things would be could be fun without some distractions and whatnot. So as long as we don't kill each other, turn into a cage match.
So you kind of really didn't give an answer. You
My answer is
said both.
No, my
Kind
answer would
of.
be to be stuck in my room with my family too. So
Okay.
I'd go with that. I know it seems like a safe answer, but honestly, I think that's what I would do. All right, you got another question.
All right. So how about this one? Would you rather be stuck inside with TV but no bathroom,
Ooh,
or stuck outside with an outhouse but no TV?
gosh, that I'm gonna go.
You're kind of a nature guy. I would think
I
you'd
know.
choose
I would
the
definitely.
outhouse.
I definitely would go. Actually, I'd rather be stuck inside with the TV, but no bathroom. I would make it work. I would find a way to make. I would find a way.
Like open a window or something.
Do
and-
something. You know.
Yeah.
Is it? But what I want to know is the length of time. Is it for a day, a week, or because I remember doing a bathroom reno once and
Let's say a week.
a week.
Yeah.
A week without a bathroom. It doesn't specify in the question, so let's
Yeah.
just say it's a day.
Okay, we'll say it's a day.
Let's just say it's a day. You know, I could go a day without having proper facilities if I had to get creative. But
yeah,
with-
and no, I would say that too.
without a TV. Well, hold on. I guess I'm saying I can't go one day without a TV. So let's say it's a week.
Well, I would say okay. So being outside's awesome. Would love to do that, but I mean, you want to be able to go inside and not stay outside all the time.
And we won't get into the particulars of this.
Yeah,
We'll spare you that.
Maybe we just need to move on from this one. But
Maybe.
what about you? Think about this question: what would you rather do? Be stuck inside with TV and
For a
no
week?
bathroom, or stuck outside with an outhouse and no TV? All right.
Make sure to use Rent Honey Bucket. That's always. I love that name for a company. Just so great.
All right. Okay. Let's
All
give us another one.
Third question: would you rather be out of toilet paper or out of toothpaste?
Oh, yeah. No, I would have to say I would rather be out of toilet paper because
Really?
Well, I mean, come on, you can use other ththings to to substitute, but like toothpaste.
This
like,
is true.
There's nastiness going on in your mouth. So you,
This nasty's going on the other end too.
well, that's true. But I mean, you gotta have toothpaste to help kind of make your breath.
Smell good.
Yeah, and
True.
and feel like
You always do what they did in the olden days: just get charcoal and
yeah, or chew on mint leaves or
chew on mint
something.
leaves. There you go. If you have
Yeah.
a mint plant rocking in your
I
house.
think you have one right behind you.
No, this is just totally fake tree.
Yeah,
The dust collectors.
with berries. Okay, straight out of the '90s.
Way to draw attention to the awful tree that we try to hide.
Okay, go ahead. You didn't
So I
answer.
have the next question. Or did you do?
Did you
did
answer that one?
I didn't answer. I would have to say, man, like you said, I think your point is, instead of substitutes for toilet paper, in our house we have tons of baby wipes because we have kids, and baby wipes are like every corner of the house. So there you go. It's a pretty good substitute.
But you're not supposed to flush those.
You don't have to flush them, but you can dispose on them in other ways.
Yeah, that's true.
Again, we will spare you the details. But yeah, I think I'd have to say I'd rather go without toilet paper. But I'm answering that as a dude. You ladies out there might respond a little bit differently. We won't get into that. But toothpaste, I think our wives will definitely appreciate us having
I
toothpaste.
kind of
for
feel
our
like we've
bad breath.
already crossed some lines here.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next.
This is supposed
question.
to be a family show, and
This is a family
and like we're going potty humor.
All right,
so
Hey,
our kids will love this.
For the record, Matt came up with these questions. I did not. So I will throw him under the bus
All
for
right.
that.
Okay, do it. Do it.
All right. So
Okay.
I got the next question. Here we go.
Yeah.
Would you rather live off canned meats or canned vegetables? Like that's your only food? Or like if you have to have a canned item, would you rather have a canned item or a canned vegetable as your canned food?
Yeah, I mean, I love vegetables, but I think I'd have to say canned meat.
If you could live off of it. Like,
I mean,
dude, chicken in a can, Google that sucker. That is nasty. We're not talking about like chicken of the sea tuna in a can. We're talking like a whole chicken in a can, sold on chopped ones.
or spam.
Spam.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I probably would say canned meat
If that's your only, if you can,
because I
If there's
like
no other-
meat eater. So I
we gotta have protein.
What about you? What would you say?
I would definitely say if there's no other foods with these canned items, like if all I'm eating is from a can, that's it. I would have to say canned protein, canned meat, just because you can't live off of vegetables.
Yeah.
Unless I get to hunt and forage or something, that is just not going to be.
or
an
unless
option.
you're vegetarian.
Vegetarian, no,
Or
I've got to have
vegan.
protein. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess you have canned. What is there? Vegetables with protein in them? Beans? They don't. Do legumes count as vegetables?
I don't know. We should ask our wives.
I don't know.
Okay.
You get the next one.
Next one. Here we go. Would you rather have good internet but no access to any streaming platform, or garbage internet but access to every movie made before 2015 in hard copy? Going back to like Blockbuster.
Dude. Blockbuster. Every
Yeah.
movie made before 2015.
Yeah.
So nothing recent.
Yes.
Um,
So you got to answer first.
man. See, the internet just brings so many more things to you as well besides movies. So if you don't have internet, then you don't have like anything. You can't download or stream your favorite podcast.
Yeah.
You can't do that. So that'd be pretty challenging.
Shameless plug.
I will shameless plug all day long,
Yeah.
Man, I'd have to say, because you just can't sit around and watch movies all day,
Yeah.
but you can like look at funny cat pictures all day.
You could.
You could totally do that.
Yeah. Or
So I would say
Screaming Goat. Screaming Goat.
I'd rather
songs,
have good internet, but no streaming platform.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'd say that too. I think I'd go with you there for the reasons you just mentioned.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Way to
Yeah.
copy my answer, man. You're cribbing off my sheet here.
No, I mean you said what I was thinking.
okay,
That's
I
good.
guess great minds think alike, right?
Yes.
All right. Next, this is our last question. All right, you ready for this?
Yep.
Last would you rather question. Would you rather have a 5-hour Zoom call with extended family, video mic on, or have extended family stay with you for 5 days?
Whoa.
5 days. Now, this
man.
extended family, is this in-laws or like your side of the family?
Yeah, whatever you want to. Yeah, whatever you want to put there.
Safe answer.
Well, I mean, because that can be different things for different
Yeah, I know.
people. Like they're thinking, well, if it's my family, sure. If it's his family, I don't know. So, I would say probably for me, I would go with a 5-hour Zoom call with extended family. That video and mic has to be on the whole time. But yeah, I'd probably say the 5-hour Zoom call.
But the 5 hours is one and done. Like
That's
you
right.
don't- Like you just push through it.
Yeah.
And I think I'd probably have to say the same thing. I love my parents. I love my in-laws. And, 5 days actually wouldn't be that bad. But it's a lot of work to host.
Yeah.
And especially right now. Like,
Yeah.
we haven't had anybody over to our house since this whole COVID stuff hit
Yeah.
the fan. Like,
Yeah.
we haven't. And so, we would be probably a little more anxious and on edge or thinking about what things we need to clean and who touched what. So I'd definitely say the 5-hour Zoom call, because you could like totally fake paying attention too. Like if I was a kid, and like maybe I shouldn't even give this idea, but like if I was a kid in high school right now and you are doing 5 or 6 hours of Zoom every day on school, you know what I would do? I would take a screenshot of me paying attention, or even just a video of me paying attention on Zoom, and I would set that as my virtual background and just walk away, or just do something else off screen, off the camera.
If
And
any of my students are listening to this, ignore
I'm
this
just saying,
guy.
I know how I would game the system on this, and no one would be the wiser. It's like that video feed loop on like security stuff and how people hack in. Anyway,
Yeah.
um,
Don't do that.
don't do that. I know it's a great idea. Don't do
It's
it.
not honest.
It's almost as bad as Calvin and Hobbes when he would take the ping pong balls, cut them in half, and he would draw a little black dot and just stick the ping pong balls in his eyes, and that way it looked like he was paying like rapt attention in class.
Oh, Miss Calvin and Hobbes.
Such a great cartoon.
All
we should
right.
do a whole segment on Calvin and Hobbes,
We should. Okay.
but like
But not today.
the audio doesn't really translate.
Yeah,
because
no.
it's so visual.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, that was good. Hopefully, you guys had some fun thinking through how you would answer that.
I would
And
I would love to hear some of your feedback.
Seriously.
I would love for you guys to tell us, like, on some of the scenarios, what would you do? And I'm just curious.
In fact, one of the things you can do when we post this on Facebook or YouTube, leave a comment about how do you respond to some of these. And in fact, one of the cool things you can also do is on Anchor, there's a way for you to leave an audio message for us. Like if you go to our Anchor website, which we'll post that on the different places where we put the podcast and whatnot, you can actually leave us an audio message. And who knows, maybe if we like upgrade our tech and set up a little more, we can actually include those messages in our podcast. So give that a whirl, and we'll try and make it happen. No
That'd be
promises, but
That'd be so 2020.
I know we would actually need to get a soundboard for that.
Yeah.
Right now we're scaling it.
Yeah,
we're scaling
we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
All right.
All right. Hey, so next up, what we're going to do, we're going to shift gears a little bit here, and actually a lot. Well, I mean, we are talking about just, life during COVID, but we saw an article this week by Tom Rainer that we want to talk about, and this article is entitled 5 Ways Churches Will Have Changed 1 year from now.
Oh,
And man,
wow.
if you can go back and think to 2019, man, back at this time last year, if you would have told me that we would be doing virtual church and all the things that we've been doing with Zoom, I would have said, you're crazy. There's no way that's going to happen. Wearing masks to church. But here
Pretty
we are.
unreal.
Here we are. And COVID has changed so much, changed everything. And so the church has changed as well. But
This is true.
looking forward to 2021, I mean, unless Christ comes back for us, assuming that we're still here this time next year, how will church look different? And so this article actually gives some great insight into that. So we're going to talk through that some and share that with you. So,
And I would say too, I don't think church has changed. The core of church, I think how we do church has changed.
Sure,
You know, we're still Christ followers. We're still that Christ is still the head of the church, and the Holy Spirit is still enabling us and connecting us through all this. But the particulars, like our orthopraxy, as you would say, hasn't changed. The way we practice our doctrines and beliefs and how we do church is it had to change out of necessity.
yeah.
You know, so this article, and for the record, for those of you who don't know who Tom Rayner is he? Is he the CEO for Lifeway still?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's the CEO for Lifeway, and he has excellent content for churches. He does consulting for churches that are struggling, that need help to figure out how to do things, how to change, how to move forward. And so he's just an excellent source for just how to do church stuff. And he's just a wise dude.
Yeah.
So the first question, the first thing on this list here that we have, one of the first things that how churches will change 1 year from now, he says this: at least 20% of those who attended before the pandemic will not return to church.
Wow.
20%.
Yeah.
So if, on a normal Sunday, if you had 1,000 people coming on a Sunday morning, you're only going to have 800 coming
Yeah.
from here on out.
Yeah. I think.
And 1,000 is a big church. Let's be for the record for that. 1,000 people is considered a large church. Like, we don't rock 1,000 people on a Sunday morning,
Right.
even pre-COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and I think understanding that in that number is people who may have just checked out, because they're not here physically, or people that are still maybe live streaming or watching but aren't here physically. But that live stream thing will continue to do that. But that's really kind of the new normal, where we'll be doing that and have to do that for people that maybe still don't feel safe coming, or maybe just prefer that option.
And the vast majority of that 20% they found were not people. They're just never going to come back for whatever reason. Go back to any church, and some of them will just stay online only for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
For years or a year or a month, we don't know.
Yeah.
That's a huge chunk of attendees. Matt, why do you think that's happening? Why do you think that's going to be the case?
Man, I think that just in this world that it's hard to really right.
I'm tapping Matt's foot here because he keeps getting further away from the microphone. We're trying to learn how to do this podcast thing, and Matt's tendency is to want to lean back from the mic. And so I'm tapping his foot and say, hey, dude, you're getting further away from the microphone.
We're going to put all that in the podcast?
Yeah, it's all in the podcast. We can keep it real. We let people behind the window, behind the curtains.
That you're playing footsies with me.
I am not playing footsies with you. It's just my say. Dude,
this is serious, man.
I know it's
Come
serious.
on.
All right. Gear shift. Change the face. All right. So what were you saying, bro?
Yeah. So I think that because of just the way that we're having to do church right now, because we're the Zoom thing, it does make a lot of people uncomfortable, and it is because they're having to do school, because they're having to do meetings. I mean, and it's
like Zoom burnout.
Zoom burnout for sure, for sure.
Deal.
And so I think that's one big factor that if this is how we have to do church, or we have to wear masks. And I know there's people out there who
no one likes to wear masks. We get that.
Yeah, yeah. But maybe you feel like it takes away from my freedom to be able to come to church and have to wear a mask. So I'm not going to do that. And so I think this has been a divisive issue, and people are
doubt.
kind of all over the spectrum here. And we've got to give grace to each other, although it's hard. It's hard because we want things to be the way they used to be. We want us all to be back together and all in
Right.
one place. And so
I would
Yeah.
say too, I think, we don't want to be judgmental about this.
Yeah.
If you're in that boat where you kind of go, I haven't gone to church since things started in person. I've really kind of checked out of the live stream stuff and the Zoom stuff. I want to let you know right now, like, you're missing out.
Yeah.
But I also want you to know we're not judging either. We get that church, when it's out of sight, it can be out of mind too.
Yeah.
And we've seen that happen a lot.
Yeah.
And that's how we just think as human beings. If something's not in front of us or out of our routine and we get used to making a new routine, we just don't think about it anymore.
Yeah.
And we think our lives are okay without it. We get used
Yeah.
to like surviving without it. And I think that's a big thing is people don't realize how much they need a Christian community.
For
And
sure.
they've gone for so long without it. They kind of go, oh, I guess, wasn't that
Yeah.
big of a deal.
And it's easier just to go to watch church than to be the
No
church
doubt.
and to be a
Pajama
part of the church.
church is way easier. And I'm not going to lie. I don't miss the Sunday morning rush of trying to get all four of my kids dressed and
Yeah.
get to church on time. And of course, there's the added stress of being a pastor. I got to get there by a certain time to make sure everything's running well and doing things. And it's like, okay, my ability to get to church on time is dependent on a 2-year-old cooperating. This is stressful.
Yeah.
So I don't miss that Sunday morning rush. And I guess some of you probably don't either. But some things are worth doing regardless of how
Yeah.
difficult they are.
For sure. Well, let's move on to the second one. This definitely ties into it. Second prediction he makes is that more pastors will leave vocational ministry over the next 12 months than at any time in recent history.
Wow.
Let me read a little bit of this. He says, pastors suffer death by 1,000 cuts. It's usually not just one or a few factors that push their limits. It's the drip by drip effect of constant criticisms and conflicts they experience. And man, that is so true. And we're not even the lead pastor.
No. And this is not a cry for help in case you're wondering.
No.
Our church members are phenomenal and they're
Yeah.
awesome. They've been really encouraging and supportive through all this. They've had to go through a lot of changes. We've had to change things here and there to adapt to what's going on. And if you're listening to this and you're a church member at First Baptist Church, Pflugerville, you guys rock.
Thank you so much.
And we appreciate
Yeah.
all the support you've given us.
Yeah.
But it's not been easy. Like I have to say, our staff meetings
Yeah.
are a little bit longer than normal each week because just so many things to plan
yeah.
through and think through that this is uncharted territory for us.
Well, and like we said earlier, you do have so many opinions, and as a pastor, you want to hear those and you want to take those to heart. But you can't please everyone, and so we can't forget too that pastors are dealing with this just like everyone else is. They're having to adjust to life in their own
On
own
a bigger
personal life.
scale too.
Yeah, so they're adjusting to the changes in their personal life, but also trying to help the church navigate that. So that's a lot of pressure, and it's caused people to already pull out of ministry, but in the next 12 months, it could be even more. So that's sad. That's real sad.
All right.
Think
The
through
third one he brings up is churches will move to a new emphasis on conversion growth. This is a really actually a incredibly positive thing that's coming out of all this COVID mess. And
Yeah.
if we're being honest, most church growth is what we call lateral church growth or horizontal growth, where essentially people move into the area from a different town and they check out your
Yeah.
church, or they say, I don't like the church I'm going to, so they go to your church.
Sure.
And so it just becomes around shuffling around Christians. And in America, in this country, we're really guilty of this.
Yeah.
We're in many ways, we're super saturated with churches. Like if you go to other countries, I grew up in Japan, and if you're church planting in Japan, like there may be one church in a radius of hundreds of miles or over there, kilometers. And if you want to plant a church in another area, you talk to the other church, if there's one there, and you say, hey, we don't want to overlap, step on your toes. We want to reach as many people possible. And so you coordinate on that kind of stuff. But we can go down a street here and there'll be, 5 churches in a 1 mile radius,
Yeah.
And so we're definitely,
So it's kind of a refocus on the Great Commission and
Yeah.
what matters, and yeah, well, that kind of goes into the next point too that he makes. Churches will.
hold on, I want to kind of camp on this just for a second
yeah,
before we move
okay.
to the next one. And so I guess you might be asking, what does that mean for me as I'm a part of a church? I would encourage you, if you're on social media or whatnot, share the gospel. Share about what you love about the church you go to.
Yeah.
Share about how you're excited about where things are going and encourage people out there. You can share the good news, a little sermon teaser there, wherever you're at.
Yeah.
And I would encourage you to be more bold than ever and encourage people to go to church. And it's easy to watch online too. You'd say, hey, check out our live stream
Yeah.
Sunday morning. They can take it or leave it pretty easily.
Right.
The benefits and the issues with live streaming your services at one, it's really easy to access, but it's also really easy to ignore.
Yeah.
But focusing on the easy to access and watch is a huge benefit. So I would encourage y'all, whatever church you go to, take the opportunities to promote your church's live stream and get the word out there about things. Be a part of the Great Commission, and really just be mindful of that more than ever.
Yeah. Well, it's a great time to share hope, even though it sometimes it feels like there's not much hope out there, and there is. I mean, the fact that God's still on His throne, and He is with us in the midst of all this, and He's
For real.
He's at work.
And for the
sure.
record, that's a little teaser for Matt's sermon 2 weeks from now. So
But that's all I got.
Shameless
That's all I
plugs.
got so far. I'm
Hope.
Yeah. So let's move on to our fourth one. Churches will start more churches, many of them as micro churches, and so this is very New Testament. Like this is,
No doubt.
Rather than looking to build this massive church number where you have hundreds or thousands, seeing these micro churches of pockets of people where they are they're planting new churches and baby churches, and our church has been great to help out and still continues to support several small churches in the area. But that's New Testament. I used to see that and think, why are we, why do churches do that? We should be trying to build up as many as we can here. But you want the church to be spread out. You don't want necessarily everybody coming to one particular place, but you want people in the community being the church, and
It's more efficient in many ways too.
Yeah.
The other day we were having our bug. It was the first time in like months that we had our house sprayed for bugs, and usually you have treatment every couple months or so. And the guy came in there, was just a really cool guy, really friendly, just did an awesome job. And started talking to him. I had this sense, like, dude, this guy kind of feels like a pastor to me. Like he just had that like pastor vibe, super friendly and whatnot. And I just asked him what he's up to, and I mentioned to him that I'm a pastor at a local church. And he's like, "Oh yeah, cool. I'm actually like a part-time pastor at a church down in East Austin." And I was like, "No way, that's awesome." It's like, "Yeah." I was like, "How are you guys handling all this?" And it's like, "It's been pretty challenging. Trying to do all our live stream stuff has been really tough." And I said, "Well, if you need some support, need some help, give us a call." Because I know our senior pastor, Steve Washburn, has got a huge heart to help churches that are smaller than us and to really be a support structure for them with resources and just attention and mentorship and whatever we can do. And again, we're not a huge church, but, we're not, rocking 50 on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And the majority of churches in this country are about 50 to 100 people.
Yeah.
And those are the ones really struggling to figure out these changes.
Right.
And so home churches starts to make a lot of sense for bigger churches, and empowering people to start these little micro churches in places in their community where people also feel safer to do a smaller group or people they're closer to than maybe just going to big crowds and whatnot. And so
it's good.
I'd be kind of curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
I know some bigger churches, the way they've been dealing with this is really being very active in starting home churches.
Yeah.
And that's a big card that they're playing, and encouraging church members to actually meet with each other to watch the live stream, like getting together with several other different families to watch the live stream from someone's home.
Yeah.
Which I think is a really cool idea and something we might even explore as well. If you feel comfortable with a couple of the families getting together to watch the live stream, go for it. I think that's a great way to worship together. That way you don't feel quite as weird, standing up in your living room or not standing up in your living room, worshiping or raising your hands or whatever. But I'll be curious to see how that goes.
Yeah.
All right, the last one in this article that we're going to be looking at is this. Two movements will grow rapidly: church adoption and church fostering. All right, Matt, unpack this for us a little bit. What does that mean?
Well, you kind of unpacked it for me.
Get a little bit steal your thunder, I guess.
No,
Looking at the body
what this
text here.
means is these larger churches that are a little more established are coming alongside these baby churches, these younger churches, and adopting them and helping them to help encourage the pastors, but also help to encourage them to put some things in place and just giving guidance and maybe even resources to be able to help these churches survive this time and to be able to continue.
And I think reading this article too, one of the things it mentions is that churches that are without a pastor, bigger churches might offer leadership for them and help them through this difficult time. They don't have anybody to lead. There's going to be churches too that are going to be suffering financially in some significant ways, and they might get adopted and absorbed into some larger churches that'll say, "Hey, listen, we are like-minded enough. Why don't you become part of the blah, blah, blah church family?
Yeah.
And we'll support you and keep them on their feet."
Yeah.
And we've seen that happen before. I've seen that happen with several churches, actually, that you don't want to call it like corporate church gobbling up, but the bottom line is some churches have the resources and staff to really help some of these smaller churches do more than just survive, but to start thriving.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it's hard during that transition for the small churches to still maintain their identity. That's one of the trickiest things to do. These sort of church mergers that I've seen happen is how do you still maintain your unique identity and what really matters most? And it's hard to let go of, well, this is who we are, and get latched onto particulars and lose sight of sort of the Great Commission. Like,
The kingdom.
Exactly, lose sight of the kingdom.
Yeah.
What is the purpose for your church existing in the first place? Is it to maintain traditions or the particular way you like doing things, or is it to reach people, to be part of the rescue mission?
Yeah.
And it takes a huge swallowing of pride in many ways, and I can't imagine. It's going to be pretty challenging and difficult.
Sure. Yeah, and that's one of the struggles as a pastor, as a youth pastor, in remembering that we are leading not just the church, but the big C church as well. Like, we're a part of a bigger thing. So like when you have church members who maybe go to another church, or for these smaller pastors, maybe their people are going to a church that's, you can take that personally, or you can say, hey, it's still a part of the kingdom, and they're connected to another church. That's hard sometimes to remember, but we're all one family.
We are one big family.
Yeah, one big C church.
And all right, well, that's man, that was a really content-filled article, and I'll try to remember to put the link to that in our video so you can see that as well and have access to read the full article for yourselves. It's really good. Again, Tom Rainer, great dude, a lot of wisdom there. Yeah. And I just encourage you guys to check it out. All right.
Sure.
We're going to take a 5-second dance break here. Someone suggested that during our 5 seconds we should dance, but I hate to break to you, we're Baptists.
Yeah.
And dancing's not really our thing. Even if we're good at it, I don't know if it would be our thing.
Speak for yourself, dude. You
got some moves?
No, but I don't want to show you up. So,
hey, what's that flossing thing?
Yeah,
I can do the floss.
Okay.
Yeah, I can do
good.
it. I'm not going to demonstrate it though.
You already did.
I did.
It wasn't that
awful,
great.
No.
But maybe just go to the break, okay?
Go to the break. All right. We'll see you in 5 seconds. Maybe if you want to have a dance break at home, go for it. All right, we are back. Hopefully you had fun on your little 5-second dance break, and in your car, just doing some car seat dance moves.
Yeah.
Or embarrassing your kids. We are back, and we're going to close things out with a very fun slot that we're going to call Stuff Christians Like. Now, we're just totally ripping off of John Acuff.
Oh, yeah,
He's
absolutely.
a funny guy.
We didn't write these.
No, we're not that smart.
But we wanted to share them with you.
No. John Acuff is a really funny, smart guy. In fact, he got to start writing advertising and marketing for Chick-fil-A, and he started his own blog, Stuff Christians Like, and then he wrote a book based off it. Now he tours with Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
And I've seen him in person, and he's a funny dude.
So when he pokes fun at Christians, understand that he's a Christian himself. And,
right.
And he's... Yeah,
he gets pretty sarcastic about some things, but he does it lovingly. And it's so painfully true and so funny.
Yeah.
But he is he is one of us. He's part of the Christian body, and a lot of times he pokes at these things because, like, hey, these things
We gotta laugh about ourselves.
We gotta laugh
sometimes.
about ourselves, right?
As Christians, we do some funny things,
no doubt, some really ridiculous things. Too.
So these things that we're going to share with you. These are some things that he has pointed out about doing church online, which we're doing right now. And again, this is like this whole.
It's like we're doing the podcast.
That's like this whole and this whole theme today has been talking about life in COVID times, and so some questions, some things that he puts out there. I gotta share this. Let me share this first one. Okay, you ready?
All right.
So he asked this: since we're doing church online now, if I'm watching a sermon online and I open up another window and answer some emails, a window on your computer, if I open up another window on my computer, I answer some emails at the same time, is that a sin? Isn't that the cyber equivalent of doodling in your bulletin? Or if I have a really big monitor, does that change your answer? So
I feel like it is a sin, especially if you're doodling in the bulletin, because back when we did have bulletins and did feel free handing out pieces of paper to other human beings, I made the bulletin. So if you're doodling in the bulletin, actually, if you're doodling in the bulletin,
doodling in the bulletin's a little bit different than answering an email, because answering an email requires a little more thought.
Your brain switches gears.
Yeah, so you're not really listening, but it's just a funny question.
It kind of reminds me of the story Wayne Watson shared. For those of you who don't know, Wayne Watson is his.
Wow,
I know that's a throwback. I mean, I grew up on his stuff, and he was a friend of our family's. But he shared this story where he said he was leading worship, and there was a lady in the front row who had her hands raised and was like really into it. And all of a sudden, and you can't tell by listening, but I'm going to try and describe it. She looked up, so her hands are raised in worship, just really in the feels, and she looks up at her nails and then starts picking her cuticles. And checking on them, and then goes back to raising her hands again and worshiping. Man. He was like, "What is wrong with this picture?" And I kind of feel like that's a gear change. If you're at home and you're worshiping or looking at the sermon, and you instead check some emails and do stuff, like your attention is not where it needs to be.
Yeah, but in this day and age, we're used to multitasking. Because so it's just a funny.
It's like I tell my kids, "Hey, when we do our devotions at night, this is your time to give God your best attention." And your best words. Yeah. So close your dang eyes and hold your hands together, because I know you're going to want to play with a toy or look around at something distracting. So
that's
anyway.
good.
But don't close your eyes watching the live stream. That doesn't. Unless we're praying, of course.
All right, dude. Number 2. Give it to us.
All right. What if the emails are from people? So this is sort of follow up to the first one. What if the emails are from the people I'm in a Bible study with? So technically speaking, I'm participating in fellowship.
Yes.
I'm not multitasking. We're doing life together. I love that phrase. We're doing life
together.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like one of those definitely Christianese phrases. Let's just do life together.
For sure.
On our spiritual journey.
Yeah, so I don't know there. I guess again you're answering emails with people that you do life together with, but still do
if
that
you're
after
discussing
the sermon.
But if you're discussing the sermon,
maybe
if there's like an email thread and someone says, "Hey, the sermon's going on right now. What did you think of that point?" So and so said, "Oh yeah," and you're discussing it as you're listening. I think. That's interactive, right? I mean, it's not
however
a bad
you want
thing.
to justify it.
But if you're just like trying to figure out, hey, when are we doing our fellowship next week? And you're sort of doing management stuff for the fellowship group as you're doing the sermon, it can wait. Right?
Okay.
That's how I feel about it.
What about this one? So if I'm doing online church, do I have to stand up when the worship leader calls us to our feet? If you're my neighbor and you're walking your dog, is it weird seeing me stand up and down in my living room?
Yes, it's weird.
It is weird.
It's super weird. It feels like a scene out of a TV show where someone's walking by someone's house and they see you like in the window standing up and standing right down. It's like is he watching a football game or is he, is he cheering for his favorite team or is he... Oh, no, he's doing online church.
Yeah, he's doing online church.
And the worship leader is saying, hey, this is your time to stand, get in the moment.
I'd say if you're with your family, encourage them to stand. But if you're watching by yourself, I don't know that I would stand because
do whatever the Holy Spirit leads.
Yeah, right.
As my math teacher in high school would say, Mr. Malunga, his favorite phrase was, as the Spirit leads. Mr. Malunga, what's the answer to question number 4? As the Spirit leads. Mr. Malunga, I have to go to the bathroom. As the Spirit leads. Like
the
every
Spirit's
question.
leading me to go to the bathroom.
The Spirits are definitely leading me down the hall to the restroom.
Oh, we are moving so far off the rails. Okay. Right. Number 4, man.
Number 4. This is a question about online church. If I have a bad connection or the wrong version of Flash or my computer crashes, is it safe to assume that I can blame that on the devil?
Oh.
If so, can I put them on notice?
the tech gremlins.
Tech gremlins. I tell you, when we
Yes.
launched our grow groups last Sunday, man, the tech gremlins were out in force.
They
It's
were.
like everything was tested, everything
Yep.
was working fine, but
Yep.
no, Sunday morning, it's like, no,
Yep.
not going to work.
Yep. They're out there.
When in doubt, blame Satan if you don't want to absolve any kind of personal responsibility.
Well, that's true. But he is the prince of the power of the air. So
and Wi-Fi
he
is
can,
in the air.
Yes, he can wreak some havoc for sure.
Let's go with that one.
Okay.
All right, next one.
All right. So how long can I pause the sermon and go do chores or answer my phone or get into more comfortable socks to wear, etc.? How long can I do that and then come back without it seeming like I've left church? That's a good one.
I feel like what's the equivalent of doing that in person? You know, like
Yeah.
if you're here in church and you're watching a sermon, like what would be an acceptable thing to do in the middle of a sermon? Like to leave the sermon for?
Well, it depends. Are you 40 or are you 3? You know,
right? If your kid's not behaving and
I have to
take
go to
them
the bathroom
hallway,
again. Okay,
yeah.
all right.
If, you got to take care of an emergency phone call or something.
Yeah.
You might go to the foyer and, if it's an emergency,
But
we get
comfortable
those kinds of
socks?
things. Comfortable socks.
More comfortable socks.
Does
I don't
not
know.
seem justifiable.
Okay.
Like, get ready beforehand. It's not that hard. Again, judgment-free zone.
Grace.
It's all good.
We're giving you grace. Okay,
It's
next one,
grace.
dude.
All right, next one. Is there any way that you could create a frame around the video player, like a digital frame around the video, that has a graphic of someone giving someone else a back massage during church, someone coughing, and the heads up
Awkward.
of the Tall family I inevitably managed to sit behind every Sunday, so the experience will feel more authentic?
Yeah.
It almost reminds me of like Mystery Science Theater 3000, where you watch like an awful movie and you had the little characters
Give 'em to
commenting
watch it.
at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
can we do that?
Man,
technically speaking,
Church can be so distracting when you got all that stuff going on around
the
you.
Tall
and-
family or the
and
person doing weird
people
things. for you.
coughing. That's me sometimes.
Way to cough in the
I-
microphone, man. I'm gonna have to
I
fix
coughed
that.
away from the mic.
We'll fix it in post.
No, I
Yeah, that's
coughed
pretty
away.
good. That's a good side
All
for
right.
coughing, Matt. That's why we have the screen here. From,
So
Matt's
yes.
coughing fits.
So can we put a frame around it so that people can feel like they're in church?
We want to make it feel authentic, and so
Yeah.
you know what? If we don't have there's enough distractions at home with needing to take breaks and stuff or kids or whatnot, we will not add any more distractions, even in the name of authenticity. Although that would be really, really fun. I might have to put out like a funny video, like with our live stream doing that.
Yeah.
So that people could get a laugh out
Yeah.
of it. With all my free time that I have.
That's right. All right, what about this one? Should I mill about in the foyer of our house with my family to recreate the after church conversations you always have?
First of all, most people's foyers, this is really funny. Like, first of all, most people's foyers in their house aren't big enough to mill about on. Like, it's a place to put your shoes on and get out the door. But if you have a big foyer, hey, go to town,
Go
mill
for it,
about,
yeah,
make
yeah.
it feel real. That's such a, like, after church, that's what we do,
Yeah.
right? We just mill about, we talk to people, we want to catch up.
We do life together.
We do life. We
Yes.
do life together.
Yes.
And what's funny is that milling about now seems to happen a lot more outside.
Yeah.
Because then people can take their masks
Take the
off.
mask off. Yeah.
Then we're comfortable. And of course, in the Texas heat, it's always like, okay, this milling about is going to be shorter. So,
Yep. All
All
right,
right.
dude, you got the last one.
Last one. Here we go. And again, we pulled these from an article that had several others. This is about only half of them. So if you want to check out Jonathan Acuff, you can find the full list there for fun. So here's the last one that we want to talk about. Here it is. I usually lose a fair amount of grace I gained in the sermon trying to get out of the church parking lot. To recreate that, should I just go sit in my car in the driveway and yell a little?
Yeah. Yes.
Just you need to burn off some steam. Just go to your car and if you got to get some yells out, go for
Yeah.
it. But I wouldn't say our church parking lot isn't so big that getting out of it is that much of a struggle. I think more getting the kids in the car.
Oh, yeah.
To leave. That's where the true struggle is.
Yeah.
For real. So
Yeah. Or then maybe, getting home and arguing about what to do for lunch or where to go for lunch.
we're going home. Mommy has
Yeah.
something in the Instapot waiting for you. That's how we roll.
Well, hope you enjoyed that. That's those are just some online or churches thoughts for online church.
Online church.
Online church. So, yeah, man, I think we've we've probably exhausted the issue of life, church, and COVID times now.
COVID times
but it's
in church and at home and dealing with it. Again, we'd love to hear from you guys about how you're dealing with all this stuff. Of course,
Yeah,
we've been
for
in this
sure.
boat for quite a while now, but we'd love to hear from you guys. All right, now this is the end of the show
yeah.
where we are, and stay tuned, where we battle each other out in a challenge to see who gets to pray.
That's
We're going
right.
to fight each other.
Last week I got to pray because I was better at Bible trivia.
Yes, you knew more Bible than
Yeah.
me, faster
And
than
so
me.
we're gonna see today.
by
Am I
1 second.
am I better at rock paper scissors?
You know, that's true skill because there's some psychological warfare here. Now, the question I have is, are we going to, there's always the method.
It's gonna
you're
be
gonna
rock,
one,
paper, scissors, shoot.
Okay.
Okay.
I prefer the 1, 2, 3 shoot.
Well, it doesn't matter what you
Rock,
think.
paper,
Okay.
scissors, shoot.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
All right. And we're sure we're not going to do the Japanese method.
No, we're not doing the Japanese.
I would love to teach you sometime.
No, I'm
John
not.
Kenpo.
No, that's a whole nother
John Kenpo.
podcast
That's
episode.
right. For
Okay.
those of you listening in Japan, apparently 3% of the people listening to this podcast are listening to Japan, which pretty much means my brother. So Patrick, well done there. We'll stick with the American version of paper,
That
rock, scissors.
sounds
today.
good.
You ready? So
Let's
it's
do it.
paper, rock, scissors, shoot.
No, rock, paper, scissors,
Rock,
shoot.
paper, scissors. This is why I'm confused.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
And then is it going to be 2 out of 3? Best out of 3.
Best 2 out of 3. We're
Best-
gonna do 3 times.
Okay.
Eventually, we'll eventually get to do this when Daniel stops talking. And
I
we
just want
can
to make
do
sure I
this.
know the rules, man.
Come
What
on,
are the
dude.
rules?
No,
All right, so rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
you're turning like an incredibly easy game into.
That's the point. You know, our podcast needs a couple more minutes. I'm trying to buy time. Come on.
No, it doesn't. All right.
All right, ready?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay,
that's
rock.
one for Matt.
Okay.
All right, so Matt wins with rock. and
I
have
got the
the
rock.
scissors.
Gets his ready.
All right. I gotta, so get my wrist going here, crack some knuckles.
That's how they do it in Japan.
I got
huh?
this. All right. And they make a sport out of this. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's how they run their government, too.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That was totally racist, Matt.
No,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Okay. All right.
All right, here we go.
Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh,
Oh, scissors cut the
man.
paper.
Dude. Man, the force is strong with this
Yes.
one. Golly.
You lost
All right.
again.
So maybe eventually I will get to pray, and you can just think Matt's a super spiritual one. It's okay. Jesus loves him, and
I mean,
guess he loves me
you've
too.
done a lot more like sermon note dropping in this one than I have. So
This is true. I am
yeah.
preaching this Sunday, so I guess I got that going for me.
yeah.
So
Okay.
all right, Matt. Well, you get to pray,
I
and
go.
if you're listening to this right now and you're driving, don't close your eyes to pray with us. Keep your eyes open, but you can be in the spirit of prayer as we pray.
That's right. That's
So-
right. Here we go. Let's do it. Father, we thank you so much for this time that we're able just to get together and focus on you and Lord, just to be able to laugh together, but also Lord to listen to each other and to think about life in these times. It is a crazy time right now, and Lord, we know that you are on your throne. We know, God, that you are all powerful, and Lord, you have been on your throne throughout this whole ordeal. And so, Father, I pray that you would give us guidance and wisdom as the church to know how to be the church in this time. Lord, that you would help us to know how to encourage each other. Lord, would you remind us to encourage our pastor? Lord, would you remind us to give grace to each other during this time?
Yes,
These are unprecedented times. None of us have a complete handle on how to do this. So we look to you for wisdom and we look to you for guidance. And God, we ask that you would just continue to show us what you want from us in this time and help us to be about sharing the gospel and to be
Yes.
the church, the church to a world that desperately needs hope right now. And so, Father, again, I thank you for this time and thank you for those that are listening. I know there could be other things that they're doing, but they're here with us, and we are so thankful for that and thankful for these people. It's in the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
Amen. All
All
right.
right.
Well, thank you all for sticking around. And if you were with us while we were praying, man, we just hope that that's encouraging for you. Just keep connecting with God during this time, especially as we're sort of isolated from each other. But if you want to listen to us each week, we should have this up and going by 4 p.m., hopefully if Apple cooperates, every Thursday. So it's ready for you for your drive home or doing dishes at night.
Yeah.
It'll be there waiting for you.
And again, we would love your comments. Like we'd love
Bring
your
'em.
feedback. If you've got some questions about doing church online, like some funny thoughts, we'd love to hear those.
Right, you can if you don't do social media and you wanted to email us a question, you can email me at dmcginty@fbcpville.org, and you can email Matt.
At matt@fbcpville.org.
Yeah,
So
I
we'd
didn't
love
get to
hear from
have
you.
my first name as an email because there's already
There's
another
already a
Daniel
Daniel.
on staff, and he took
Yes,
it.
you're Daniel the second.
I'm Daniel the second. We'll take it. All right. So please email us questions or comments that you have for us. And who knows? They might get included in our podcast. Last week, we did include them. But be sure to follow us on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. We're on Breaker and Pocket Cast, and we're also on Google Podcasts now. So lots of different ways for you to follow. If there's an app that you use that you'd like to see our podcast on, let us know.
Like you could just like start making up names and make it sound like we're on all these
We're
different.
we're on like all these different. We are actually on like I think 8 different platforms. But we encourage you to follow them on whichever one you listen to. And of course, you can watch this on YouTube if you're not already watching it on YouTube now, or on our Facebook. Let's land.
Plane landed.
Plane is landing.
We're done.
Y'all have a good day.
Bye bye.